Hello YouTube coin collection stackers. Today we're going to be looking at a rather large collection, or I should say part of a rather large collection that I purchased from a family last week. I've been going through and organizing this for the better part of, let's say, 35 hours or so. It's large. Today we're going to look at part of it. I'll be doing probably 2 more videos as we get into more of the international stuff. Today we're going to focus mostly on US with a little Canadian. You see some knot geld hanging out over here and some other stuff over here, but we're going to focus on that stuff. But some of the cool things that what I found in the collection, as well as a photo that was hanging up in the home when I came in. I'm going to do a follow-up video on that photo because it was all the coins that the family had sold in the 1980s, which included, an AU flowing hair dollar, AU rainbowed, seeded half dollars, dimes, quarters, you name it, Carson City stuff, crazy amount of stuff. But today we're just going to focus on what's here on the table. And I apologize for the extra shadows, but I'm trying to get some good lighting in here so I can really show this stuff to you guys. So, as typical as we find, we kind of walk into these places when you get the call, hey, we found 2 boxes of coins in a closet. And you start looking at it, and you got your typical, say, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit for you guys so we can have a little bit closer look at some of this stuff. And I'll just kind of pull it up there. Things like your typical sort of circulated kind of cullish Morgan dollars, But I actually like the looks of these. They have nice original skin on them. They don't look like they've been messed with or cleaned or so forth. And then, you got your Franklin half dollars, things like this. Not as many walkers as I would have thought. This 35 is kind of nice. All this stuff is going to be going up on my eBay store as soon as I get it sorted. I spent about 35 hours. I spent 4 hours appraising the collection and about 35 hours cataloging it. As you generally find, there's usually a bunch of 64 half dollars in basically AU or BU condition. And this collection was no exception to that. In addition to your typical junk 90 quarters. And the nicer ones, of course, being, 62, 63, 64. I got a whole roll of 64s, as well as some really nice 40 percenters. And I like to sell these as sets, like 65, 66, 67, 68, 69 kind of sets. One of the things that was very cool was this tube of, these are all the same, but 1946 Philly dimes. All like BU, some with toning like you can see on this one here. Just a full roll of 46 Phillies in uncirculated condition, which was very, very, very nice to find in the collection itself. The only barbers to speak of, other than sort of cull dimes, are these rather sad 2 barbers here that you can see. I'll try to get some light on it, but these are just dark and ugly and kind of beyond redemption, unfortunately. But there was some really beautiful stuff, which is why I zoomed in here. And one of the things I want to show you is there were just a significant number of Morgans that had some kind of toning on them. You can see on this one's got beautiful, beautiful toning. Most of the Morgans were stored in these envelopes. And we're talking, this collection goes back, some of the stuff in here has dates on it that were written like 1913. But this was a grandfather's collection, a great-grandfather's collection, and a father's collection. And the people selling it were a generation up above me, and I ain't young. So this stuff goes back quite a ways. And being stored in these paper envelopes for as long as it has been, you can just see that beautiful, beautiful blue and green toning along the edge. And all of these are going, and I have like 13 of these that look like this. All 1882 Phillies. They must have, bought a roll or half a roll at some point. Look at how gorgeous. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. Some of these are, this one's probably like a, maybe 3 coin. Could be 2. But because of the toning, they may get a grade bump. You got a box of those guys as well. And then just another one that's just more of a cull, but you can't really see the toning with the lighting on this. It looks really dark. That's a little better there. But you guys get the idea. One really cool dime is 59p. Look at the toning on that guy. I mean, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful, beautiful dime. I'm trying to keep the reflection on. Look at that. Look at that. Those crazy colors on that dime. That's a lot of fun. Really nice. We got this sort of assembly of these beautiful 1949. You can see the prices. I'm going to be $20 for that guy. These will be on my eBay store probably by the middle of next week. Just gorgeous BU, AU style stuff. I'll be putting together sets like this, like your 1921 PDS set. There was a Carson City quarter hanging out in there. Really horrible. I'm only asking like $20 for this one, but you're in 1877 Carson City. You can see the CC down there. Just to, this is, AG3 is being kind to that one. But then you have stuff like this 1940. That's just, looks like it just came from the mint. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Got a key date quarter in there as well. This guy was lurking around. This 32 Denver. Not the greatest, definitely circulated. I would say it's probably VG8 is what I'm guessing it is. I'm not sending this in grading. This is just going right up on the website. I got all these 32s here. These are just Phillies. But look at some of these. Let me find some of the better ones. Some are going in for grading. I'll put the grading examples in the middle, but just not crazy, right? Rare or expensive Buffaloes, but lots of ones like this that are just these stunning, stunning Buffalo nickels. And speaking of some other interesting, cool stuff that was in there, you have this 1811 bust half dollar. Yeah, not super pretty. It's probably like a fine, but still very cool. Original skin. Doesn't look like anyone ever messed with it or tried to mess with it at all. There are lots of pennies, like this 14D. Now sending this one into PCGS to be graded. So you can see these are sort of the PCGS big holders that they're in. This, I have to take this out. I love Walking Liberty half dollars, and I just got to take this one out for you guys because it is so amazingly beautiful. Nothing crazy, right? It's a 43 Philly, so you're not going to win any awards for rarity on this. But my God. And the light's kind of tough in here to see this, but the way this is toned, I'll try to see if I can get in there. It's got this orange toning in the corner right where the sun's coming up. And I don't know. I think this one could grade very high. Doesn't look like it's ever seen any level of handling. It doesn't have hardly any nicks, no bag marks on it. It is just an exceptional walking lib. Well, some really cool dimes like this 31 Denver. It's a key date. This one is in a very nice mint state. It's got some rub on it. I don't know if this will get a 58, but it looks to me to be BU. It's kind of tough. The toning for me makes it hard because, when you look at the luster, you can see on the wing there, it looks like there's some rub, but that could just be weird toning. I'm thinking this one could be a pretty good, decent grade on that 31. This was a fun one. It's the first one I've run into in a while. This Fugwanger token from 1837 that was proposed as a Fugwanger's composition, which is sort of a German silver composition that this gentleman was proposing at the time. There's like 4 different ones of these. This is the most common, but that was a fun find. I haven't seen one of those in the wild, like I said before. Another beautiful Merc. This one's a 1919 Denver, and just look at the condition it's in. These things have been sitting in that closet, in those boxes for a long time. This was fun. I got a pair of these. Abe Lincoln 1918 commemoratives. That's the nicer one. Both appear to be uncertain. Well, this one here might be AU. Again, I have a hard time with the weird toning. Obviously, I'm not going to do any conservation or anything on these guys to clean them up. These are just going straight into PCGS, right as I found them, because I don't want to mess with it. This is an interesting... This is apparently the Germans put this medal out for George Washington in the 1700s. This was in there. That's going for grading. Have this really interesting, beautiful 20 centavos from Mexico, 1898 it looks like, there. And got some nice Indians. This one's going in for grading, this 1893 right here. Look at that. And this is a nice one too, this 1860. Couple more to show you, and we'll zoom out and we'll kind of hit the rest of it real quick. This was a fun one. This was not obviously U.S. Look at the rainbow tone. I gotta take this one out. This one is Wilhelm Koenig, and it's a German coin. Give me a second here. Excuse me. We are unedited. See if I can get the toning on this one. Look at that. So many of the coins in this collection, because they were sitting in these paper envelopes like the one I showed you have this incredible toning on them. And that's one of them. Again, not an American one, but that's part of that whole crazy like international collection. I'll do a separate video on, including this little guy right here, this sort of 1/6 taller with the bear on it as well. One of the crazy things, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on it because it was just so much, were Civil War tokens. This collection had a ton of Civil War tokens, including these Sutler tokens here. Got a 10, a 25, and a 5 from Michigan. These are J.A. Leggett, Michigan Sutler tokens, which are very cool, and you can see they're in really nice shape. You got original mint luster and mint color under there. Those are all going in for grading as well. We have more just really nice kind of rarer ones. I spent a lot of time going through and trying to do the attributions on these. This Brighton House from Ohio is pretty rare, and this see if I can get it in here. I'll just flip it over so we can read it because I wrote it down. This one is the Jones Wood Hotel. And, again, I did my best to look these up and attribute them to the dye varieties and so forth, per the Fold Guide and Q. David Bauer's Civil War Tokens book. Even a cool Hard Times token, and these anti-slavery tokens that came out of Britain. This one's from the late 1700s, and this one's from the 1830s. Just very cool pieces of history there. I'm going to zoom out a minute so that we can look at just some of the other stuff at a glance. When you're buying coin collections, there's all sorts of other stuff that comes into the fold. People want to sell you jewelry and silverware and all kinds of stuff, which I have, partners I refer that stuff out to because I don't deal in that stuff. But these were very curious to me. Very cool. There's Jefferson Davis. These are actually from the Civil War, and they are, believe it or not, these patriotic envelopes. So people would buy these, and then they would send people letters in these, and there's all different designs. Just a very, very cool piece of history. Lots of political commentary on these. And, in one of them, actually, as we were kind of looking through it, and it's in bad condition, but was this fractional 25-cent note. Yeah, it's barely hanging on here. It's why I very carefully transferred it into here. I don't think it's very valuable in this condition. I'm just going to keep it because I think it's cool, and I was able to sort of rescue it out of there as well. Then, speaking of like notes, here's a Mexican note. I can't find a date on it. If you guys know, please leave in the comment. But this is an American banknote company produced Mexican note that you can see here, a peso note. We had one, it was actually one of those patriotic envelopes. We had one of these sort of demonetized, whatever kind of banknotes. This one's from 1862, Catskill, New York, Tanner's Bank. This is a remainder note. No one, it's not been signed or anything. That would be a lot more valuable if somebody actually signed it, but they haven't. Of course, we had these, you can see over here, we had some, your typical things you find, silver certificates. We have some red seal $2 notes over here. I was really excited about this because I actually collect these, and someone in my coin club is an expert in these, so these are coming to me with me to coin club so I can get a second opinion on them. But not geld, and just not geld like crazy. If you're not familiar with not geld, this is emergency money issued during the 1920s during hyperinflation, and a lot of these have themes on them related to sarcastic types of anti-propaganda or propaganda. Some of it has old classic fairy tales and stories. This one has music on it, so all the themes, very cool kind of thing to collect. And then mixed up in here were these hyperinflationary notes. As a 1,000 mark note, I got a 1,000,000 mark note, a 50 million mark note. Those are all sort of in that group over there. One of the coolest things I found, this is not atypical, right? You'd find these are your Columbus kind of 1892-93 Columbus commemorative half dollars. They're okay. These aren't too valuable. They made a gazillion of them, and you can pick these up pretty cheap. But in here, along with this stuff, was this. This is probably one of the coolest things I've ever picked up in one of these estate sales. And these are actual tickets to the 1893 Columbian Exposition in Chicago. And this is admit 1 at the pay gates. These are going off for grading. These are absolutely in stunning, stunning condition. 4 different designs. There's another design I found that has Ben Franklin on it. This is Abe Lincoln, obviously. This is an Indian chief with a feather headdress. And George Washington as well. So very cool and interesting thing to find along with this Columbian collection. Alternatively, in sort of a sultry, less, if there are children in the room, you might want to escort them out. Before I flip this over, I will not read it, but you can read it for yourself. But this is a brothel token from the 1800s, and I'll let you read into that. But this is, of course, an 1852 large cent that has had the E modified. So you would go ahead and pay the madam, and the madam would give you one of these, and you would go meet with your lady and hand her this token to show that you paid. That's always interesting to find stuff like that as well. Trying to think if there's anything else. There's a lot of stuff in here, my God. Oh, I almost forgot. Pennies. Pennies, pennies, pennies. 1939. BU red pennies. These are what are these? 1930. All Phillies. BU red pennies. 37 BU red pennies. There's 27s, I believe, in here as well. What's this one? Another 37 bag of 37s. This is a bag of 27s, and so on. Lots and lots and lots and lots of that kind of stuff. And I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. Let me just look around the table, see if I hit all the interesting high notes. Let me zoom back out, so that's good. So we can kind of see everything on the table. But I was very, very excited. Again, this is part 1. I have several other things. I have several other things I want to go ahead and organize and show you guys. A lot of world stuff, a lot of medals, and as I mentioned, an entire collection of Civil War tokens. Some actually kind of scarce. Most of them quite common. All of them, for the most part, in very good condition. So I'm going to do a whole different video on those. I've spent a lot of time attributing all of those to the best of my ability. I'm not an expert, so hopefully some experts will chime in and correct me on some of the ones so I can get them right. But I guess that's it for today. There's a lot to cover, a lot of stuff. You just never know what you're going to find. It's amazing to me what's just sitting out in closets when I get the call, hey, we found 2 boxes of coins in the closet. Will you come check it out? And you end up coming across, things that just blow your mind, like this. Well, thank you guys for watching as always, and happy collecting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome rest of your day.